So if you've been following along to the game recently, like I have, you would know that the long-awaited Unicorn Pack is finally here, bringing stuff like mana, new ailments, and new pets. My favorite part of these huge updates is finding the thing that was already in the game that Team Wood decides to flesh out in its own right, and really make it its own. The thing that caught my eye this time is the new rolling archetype to come out of this pack, which was hinted at when the Team Wood Twitter account started teasing new and upcoming pets in the game, like the Yeti and Nessie. This video is going to be a big deep dive into this new strategy, my opinions on what I think is good and not good, what you should use if you're trying this out for the first time, and how I think it compares to other strategies this team might be going up against. The Bunyip is a tier 1, and is the first low tier in the game that works with this type of mechanic. For every roll that turn, the Bunyip will gain either 1, 2, or 3 health at the start of a battle, with a limit of 3 rolls. When I first started playing this pack, I skipped on the Bunyip because I thought the stats were a little too bad to invest in. Being a 3-1 makes it pretty much frail and can be hit very easily by stuff like the Warg in this pack. But now that I've played a little more of the pack over the past few days, I think that this pet is great. Of course, you're not going to be rolling 3 or more times on turn 1, but its beef in the early rounds, I'd say up until about round 6, makes it a great early game pick. The second early game pick that I think fits this is Bigfoot. On Feint, you can get 1 to 3 free rolls on the next turn, scaling as it levels up. I personally think that Bigfoot is just okay. Its big and beefy health can make it hard to kill in some scenarios, and it doesn't output a lot of damage. So, not only is it hard to get a roll, but it can sometimes trigger other abilities on accident. Paired with a gingerbread cookie in the new Ogopogo of the same tier, of tier 2, I'd say Bigfoot makes itself good enough to pick up if you have everything prepared. Finally, in the early game, we have the tier 3 Mana Hound, which gives mana for each roll that turn, giving more as you level up. I personally don't play this pet as much as the other pets in the rolling archetype, but I think its concept is really, really cool. So this is post me speaking, and I was completely sleeping on the Mana Hound. I've been playing for like a day more, and I thought I might as well try it out, and this is maybe the best pet in the game for stacking mana on a specific creature. Maybe usually you have to do it with the Rock and the Kitsune, but I think the Mana Hound might be the best one, and it works really well with this archetype as well. So definitely pick up the Mana Hound. This pet connects the rolling archetypes to others, like the Mana archetype. And so you can kind of have an intertwine of those two types. Maybe if you want, you can bring in stuff like the new Sea Serpent, which turns mana into even more damage, or the new Ultra Broken Chimera. It can also be used with the Pixie to get more rolls. I think that this pet is good, but I'm not that great at playing mana builds, so I don't really tend to pick it up. This pet sucks! It is maybe the single worst pet to come out of this archetype, maybe even the single worst pet to come out of the entire pack. Being completely useless until you have to get a pet like the Yeti, and even then, you're never guaranteed to get this pet to trigger even one time. 6 rolls is too many rolls, and compared with stats lower than Bigfoot, this pet might be one of the worst to come out of the entire pack. And tier 5, however, is the single most important pet to this strategy. Nessie spawns a fake that has 2, 4, or 6 times the amount of times you rolled as both of its stats with a limit of 10. Say you rolled 6 times in a turn. At level 1, you would be a 12-12 when you respawn. At level 2, you would be a 24-24 when you respawn. At level 3, you would be a 36-36 when you respawn. This pet is practically essential if you're using the archetype. This pet is thankfully pretty easy to level up. If you have maybe an Ogopogo over level 2, you can get it leveled up that way. If you have a gingerbread cookie and a way to give it 1 XP, or if you have the brand new Salmon of Knowledge, this pet gives +2 experience to the first 2 pets on your and the enemy's team. but it's still pretty good. Nessie is by far the best pet when using the new archetype. The Yeti, a tier higher than the Nessie, is probably the second best pet in the archetype. By standalone, it's probably the best, rolling up to 9 times and freezing duplicates at the end of your turn. This makes reaching Nessie's max rolls out of 10 pretty easy, and if you're getting more than one Nessie, then you can make them even bigger and have more giant Nessies. Overall, and in testing and casual playing of this pack, I would say that this archetype generally does well against the new Ailments archetype, because the fake Nessie can just spawn in after the Vampire Bat is done doing damage. But I feel like it has a major weakness to the new Mandrake, who makes Nessie look stupid bad. If you don't know, the Mandrake can make an enemy dazed, which is a new ailment that blocks abilities. So if you can just imagine Nessie being dazed, it can't activate. The new archetype also does generally struggle against the new mana archetype, especially the aforementioned Broken Chimera, which I think is the new best pet in the game. I really like this new archetype. Actually, it might be my favorite, which is why this is the one I first decided to make a video on. Especially because all of this just came out on Thursday. I'm definitely going to make more. I think the next one will be about the new Ailments archetype, but until then, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you later. Bye!